Hello and welcome back, beautiful souls. I'm your host, Kari, and today we're diving into something that might just revolutionize how you approach the holiday season. We're talking about the gift economy, how ancient wisdom can heal modern holiday stress. And listen, I'm coming at this from a place of deep understanding. I've been that parent, a single parent of five children, standing in Target with the calculator, trying to figure out how to make magic on a shoestring budget. I felt that pit in my stomach when your child asks for something you simply can't afford. So today's conversation isn't coming from some ivory tower. It's coming from the trenches of real parenting, real financial stress, and the real search for meaning beyond the madness. But here's what I've discovered through both my spiritual practice and my life experience. The most profound celebrations throughout human history had absolutely nothing to do with how much money you spent. In fact, some of the most joy filled, soul nourishing traditions come from cultures that would look at our modern day holiday stress and think we've completely lost our minds. So let's start with some perspective. The average American family now spends over $1,000 on Christmas gifts alone. That's not including decorations, food, travel, or all the other holiday expenses. Meanwhile, research from San Francisco State University shows that experiential gifts create more lasting happiness than material ones. And here's the kicker: many of the most meaningful experiences cost little to nothing. But before we dive into alternatives, let's understand what we're dealing with. The modern holiday spending frenzy is actually a pretty recent invention. It's largely a product of 20th century marketing, not ancient tradition. The original St. Nicholas, and yes, there was a real person, wasn't about creating consumer debt. He was a 4th century bishop who anonymously gave away his inherited wealth to families in need. The key word here is anonymously. No credit cards, no expectations of reciprocal gifts, no social media posts about his generosity. Now, let me take you on a journey around the world to show you how different cultures celebrate connection, light, and renewal without the financial stress we've normalized. Let's start with the concept of hygge from Denmark. This isn't just a trendy word you see on Pinterest, it's a way of life. Hygge represents coziness, comfort, and contentment found in simple pleasures. During the Danish winter celebrations, family gather around candles, not because they're Instagram worthy, but because light in darkness is sacred. They share simple foods, tell stories, and create what they call hygge moments, pockets of pure contentment that cost almost nothing but create memories that last lifetimes. Then there's the Swedish concept of lagom, which means just enough or balanced. Swedish holiday celebrations focus on lagom, having just enough food, just enough decoration, just enough gift giving to create joy without excess. They understood something we've forgotten. Abundance isn't about having more, it's about appreciating what you have. Let's travel to Mexico and explore Las Posadas. This 9-day celebration before Christmas isn't about shopping, it's about community, storytelling, and shared simple meals. Families take turns hosting, creating elaborate nativity scenes, not with expensive decorations, but with creativity, imagination, and whatever materials they have. Children go door to door reenacting Mary and Joseph's search for shelter, and the focus is entirely on hospitality, community care, and the sacredness of opening your home to others. In many African cultures, there's the beautiful tradition of Kwanzaa, which specifically rejected commercialization from its inception. The seven principle, umoja, meaning unity, and kujikagulia, meaning self determination, and others, focus on community building, cultural pride, and collective responsibility. Gifts, when given, are typically handmade and focused on education and cultural connection. Now, here's where ancient wisdom gets really interesting. Indigenous cultures worldwide operate on what anthropologists call gift economies. Unlike our market economy, where you pay money and receive goods, gift economies are based on reciprocity, relationship, and community care. In Pacific Northwest indigenous traditions, there's a practice of potlatch. This isn't just gift giving, it's about creating abundance through generous sharing. The idea is that when you give freely, abundance flows back to you, but not necessarily from the same person or in the same form. It's based on the understanding that we're all interconnected and caring for others ultimately cares for the whole community. I couldn't agree more. Compare this to our modern holiday stress, where we often give out of obligation, keep track of who gave what, and worry about whether our gifts measure up to what we received. We've turned generosity into a transaction, and it's killing the joy. So, how do we reclaim the soul of celebration? How do we create meaningful holidays when money is tight, or even when it's not, but we want to focus on what truly matters? First, let's talk about the magic of handmade. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not crafty. Listen, some of my most treasured gifts have been wonky, imperfect, made with love creations. A handwritten letter, sharing your favorite memory with someone, a jar of homemade soup with the recipe attached, a playlist of songs that remind you of someone burned onto a CD with a hand drawn artwork, even ornaments from free sources like pine cones, twigs, dried oranges, cinnamon sticks. Just add some ribbon and you're done. Did you know you can easily make amazing mittens from old wool sweaters? Go Google it. There's actual science behind why handmade gifts feel more meaningful. When someone creates something for us, we unconsciously register the time, thought, and energy they invested. Mirror neurons in our brains help us feel the love that went into the creation. You can't buy that at Target. Here's a great tradition that costs almost nothing: the Year of You photo book. Throughout the year, take candid photos of your loved ones. Not posed, perfect shots, but real moments. Your daughter laughing at breakfast. Your partner fixing something in the garage. Your mom reading in her favorite chair. At the holidays, create a simple photo book, or even just print them and put them in a nice box with handwritten captions. The gift isn't the photos, it's the message. I see you. I notice your beautiful, ordinary moments. You matter to me. Let's talk about experience gifts that don't break the bank. Try a coupon book for things like one home cooked meal of your choice, movie night you pick, I'll clean your car, or one deep conversation over coffee. These aren't chores disguised as gifts, they're promises of connection, service, and quality time. For families with children, consider starting a story tradition. Instead of buying expensive toys, commit to reading together for a set amount of time each week. Create a family library by visiting garage sales, thrift stores, or even just checking out library books. The gift isn't the books, it's the promise of presence, imagination, and shared adventure. Now, let's address something important: teaching children about the difference between wanting and needing. Many traditional cultures have beautiful ways of doing this. In some Native American traditions, children are taught to ask four questions before requesting anything. Do I need this for survival? Will this help me serve my community? Will this bring me closer to the sacred? Will this help me grow in wisdom? Obviously, we don't need to be that formal with our kids, but the principle is powerful. You can create family discussions about the difference between I want and I need. Make it a game. Go through toy catalogs together and categorize them. This isn't about depriving children, it's about helping them develop discernment and appreciate what they have. Here's something beautiful I learned from a client whose family started doing gratitude gifts. Instead of buying presents, each family member gives others the gift of specific appreciation. Mom, I give you the gift of noticing how you always make our house feel like home. Dad, I give you the gift of recognizing how hard you work to take care of us. Sister, I give you the gift of appreciating your silly sense of humor, always making me laugh. These cost nothing, but I promise you they create more lasting joy than any purchased item. Let's explore the concept of enough. In Buddhist philosophy, there's the practice of santuthi, which means contentment or satisfaction with what one has. During holiday seasons, many Buddhist communities focus on practices of generosity that come from abundance consciousness, not scarcity fear. They might do gift meditation, sitting quietly and truly appreciating a simple object, understanding its journey to them, the hands that made it, the earth that provided its materials. This isn't hippie nonsense. It's rewiring your brain to find genuine richness in what's already present. Here's a practice you can try before any holiday shopping. Spend 10 minutes in gratitude for what you already have. Touch items in your home and really appreciate them. Notice how this shifts your energy from not enough to abundance everywhere. For those of you who are parents or grandparents, consider the gift of traditions over things. Start a holiday tradition where you make something together every year. Maybe it's decorating gingerbread houses, or everyone contributes to a family story that continues each year. Or you create an annual family time capsule. One of my most treasured childhood memories wasn't about presents I received. It was Christmas Eve when our power went out. And instead of being disappointed, my mom turned it into an adventure. We lit every candle in the house, made hot chocolate on our gas stove, and spent the evening telling stories by candlelight. No electricity meant no TV, no distractions, just pure connection. That disaster became our most magical Christmas memory. This brings us to something crucial: reframing scarcity into creativity. When you can't afford expensive gifts, you're forced to get creative. And creativity is where the magic happens. Some of the most meaningful gifts I've ever received were born from someone's financial limitations, but abundance of love. Let's talk about community celebrations. Many cultures celebrate collectively rather than focusing on individual family units spending individual money. Consider organizing a neighborhood potluck instead of expensive restaurant meals. Create a Skillshare gift exchange, where people offer services, talents, or knowledge instead of purchased items. Maybe your neighbor who's great at car maintenance offers oil changes, while you offer to help someone organize their closet and someone else offers guitar lessons. You're creating a web of mutual care and support that builds community while reducing individual financial pressure. Here's something profound from indigenous gift economy wisdom: the understanding that true abundance comes from circulation, not accumulation. When resources flow freely through a community, everyone's needs get met more effectively than when each person hoards individually. You can apply this principle by organizing toy swaps, where families bring toys their children have outgrown and exchange them for new to them items, or clothing swaps, book swaps, even recipe swaps where people share favorite family dishes. Now let's address the elephant in the room: dealing with family members who are still stuck in the consumer mindset. You know the ones. They'll judge you if you don't get it, if you don't spend enough, or create guilt about homemade gifts, or they make your children feel bad for not having the latest expensive toy. First, remember that their behavior comes from their own programming and insecurities. The most powerful response is to model joy and contentment with your choices without being defensive or preachy about it. When Aunt Judgy makes a comment about your homemade gifts, you can simply say, "We're focusing on creating meaningful experiences this year," and change the subject. For children dealing with peer pressure about not having expensive items, help them understand that their worth isn't determined by their possessions. Share stories about people throughout history who found joy and meaning in simple things. Help them develop pride in their family's values. Gosh, I remember we each received one present as a child, and we went outside to play and use our imaginations. I'm showing my age. Let's explore some specific alternative celebration ideas. The Experience Advent Calendar. Instead of chocolates or small toys, create daily activities. Today we're going to watch the sunset together. Today we're making snow angels. Today we're calling grandma just to say hi. I like that one. The gratitude tree. This is different from standard gratitude practices. You create a bare branch centerpiece, and throughout the season, add leaves where family members write something they notice and appreciated about someone else in the family. The story chain. Start a story on December 1st, and each day a different family member adds one sentence. By Christmas, you'll have created a unique family story together. The Light Meditation series. During the darkest time of the year, spend a few minutes each evening sitting in darkness, then lighting one candle and sharing one thing that brought light to your day. Here's something beautiful about many traditional winter celebrations. They understand that this season is naturally about introspection, rest, and preparation for new growth. The commercial Christmas machine wants us to be manic and busy, but ancient wisdom teaches us that winter is for going inward, for storytelling, for contemplation. Consider creating celebrations that honor the natural rhythm of the season. Longer conversations by firelight, more time for reading and reflection, earlier bedtimes with bedtime stories, seasonal foods that nourish and comfort. These don't cost money, but they feed the soul. And I want to address something for those of you who are struggling financially. There can be shame around not being able to provide expensive gifts, especially for our children. But I want you to understand something. The most emotionally healthy children I know come from families who prioritized connection over consumption. Your children will not remember the brand names of their toys, but they will remember how you made them feel loved, valued, and secure. They'll remember the traditions you created, the stories you told, the attention you gave them. These are the gifts that actually shape human beings. And for those of you who aren't financially struggling but want to opt out of the consumer madness anyway, you're doing something radical and important. You're modeling that happiness doesn't come from accumulation. You're teaching that celebration can be about joy, connection, and meaning rather than spending and stress. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. The goal isn't to eliminate all gift giving or become some kind of anti materialism extremist. The goal is to return gift giving to its original purpose, expressing love, care, and connection. Before our modern consumer culture, gifts were given to strengthen relationships, show appreciation, mark important transitions, and create bonds within communities. They weren't given out of obligation or to compete with others or to fill some kind of emotional void. So, as you move into the holiday season, I invite you to experiment. Choose one tradition from another culture that resonates with you. Try one handmade gift. Create one experience based celebration. Notice how it feels different from obligation based giving. Remember, you're not depriving anyone by choosing meaning over materialism. You're offering something far more valuable, the gift of your attention, creativity, and love. And that, beautiful souls, is something no amount of money can buy. Your assignment this week: choose one way to experiment with gift economy principles. Maybe it's making something instead of buying something. Maybe it's organizing a skill share with friends. Maybe it's starting a new tradition that costs nothing but creates connection. Next week, we're moving into winter solstice wisdom, finding light in the darkness. Because understanding the spiritual significance of this season can transform how we experience these months from stress to sacred. Until then, remember your love is enough, your creativity is valuable, and your presence is the greatest gift you can offer. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, please share this podcast with them and help me grow by liking or subscribing. Until next week, keep listening to those whispers.